Welcome back. This is David and Sue, Mr. and Mrs. LDSPrepper, and we had a phenomenal turnout, great interest in Sue's video on beyond food storage. So many questions that we couldn't answer them on the call because it's already over an hour. So we're taking some time. We just had some breakfast and we've gone through the questions and comments, and we're just going to reply. And I'm going to try to be as nice as I can. That isn't always it is never my strong point, because I get too emotionally concerned about people's welfare, and I just sometimes get overwhelmed emotionally wanting to help people literally save their lives. So these videos I have on my YouTube channel can literally save your life and the lives of your family members. So I'll try to be kind, but if I'm a little direct, just be aware that I'm doing that out of love and concern and want to help you. So we're going to just take the questions and the comments as they came through on the chat on the side of the live broadcast. You'll be able to see these when you watch the replay of that, when YouTube uploads the transcript for the comments. So let's get started. One of the things here was please advise about indoor grow lights. I feel overwhelmed by the amount of products out there. I need to know what to buy regarding lights. It's very difficult to grow things where I am. So thank you for the comment. I would just say, if you just go to my YouTube channel, LDSPrepper.com, and click the little search button and just type in grow lights and then click the search button on my channel, and you'll find several videos on using grow lights that I recommend, and links to the lights that I use. I will probably be changing lights to different lights because technology changes, but at the moment I'm using the fluorescent tubes and they work really, really well. You just need to make sure you have enough light. So the information's out there. Go ahead and just go to my YouTube channel and use the search function there, and you'll get lots of information with links to the lights. You mentioned that it is very hard, difficult to grow things where you are. It's no difficult growing in anywhere on the planet if you have the knowledge to grow. You just have to do appropriate items. Now, we use the Midnight Gardening method. Can you grab me the gardening book, please? And I first came across this method when we were in Texas, and I used this gardening book, this $25 gardening book, and it worked perfectly in Texas. And we're talking hot, humid temperatures there. And then we moved to Idaho, where we're talking freezing, dry temperatures here. And it worked just as well in Idaho as it did in Texas. So if you're looking for some guidance on how to grow food, this is the book you need. You can go to LDSPrepperStore.com, buy the Midnight Gardening Course book. In here, you're going to learn the 6 laws of plant growth that apply anywhere in the world. Now, Mr. Mitlighter grew in Japan. He grew in Russia. He grew in Utah. He grew in about every kind of climate you can think of other than Arctic climates, and it all worked. So take advantage of what's already been written and already available to you. In this book, you'll learn about how important it is to feed the plants. And so we actually make the LDSPrepper Premium Micronutrient Mix. You can also get this at LDSPrepperStore.com. And you get free shipping when you buy 8 of these. And that will last you this year and for years to come. So lots of information out there here on my channel. I try to take what we are doing and have done, share you our failures and our successes so you can get to success as quickly as possible. But I promise you, if you follow the 6 laws of plant growth outlined in this book, and you'll be able to grow food anywhere. So no worries there. Any thoughts, comments on that?
No, that was good.
All right. So next one is trying to figure out how to store everything in Arkansas. So different from storing in the desert. Absolutely true. Sue mentioned about our different storage, food storage, storing needs and abilities in Washington State versus Texas. And so you can go back and watch her comments there, but you really just need to start asking yourself some questions. What are some questions that she might ask herself?
So when we lived in Washington State and then moved to Texas, two totally different climates, we knew that we had to do something different in Texas because it is hot and humid in Texas versus being cool and humid in Washington State. We knew we couldn't store our food storage in the garage there. We knew the only option that we had was either air condition the garage or bring the food storage into the house, which was a climate that we could control. So wherever you live, you have to find a space that you can store your food where it's below 75 degrees, where I don't know that you can do much about the humidity. Mostly it's temperature. And then for moisture, you want to make sure there's good air circulation around your food items. Like I mentioned with the concrete in the garage, concrete is damp, that moisture is going to affect your cans especially, so you want to mitigate for that. So wherever you live, pay attention to your temperature, pay attention to your humidity. Something else you need to consider is rodents. Make sure if you have, we live in the country, so mice get into the house. We have a cat who lives outside and catches mice, but she doesn't catch them all. We're on 2.5 acres, so we have to do something in the basement to prevent the mice from getting into our food. They will eat through cardboard, they will eat through plastic, they will eat through Mylar storage bags. So whatever your situation, you need to mitigate for make it your most ideal storage situation.
So thank you. I raise honeybees, and I raise honeybees in Texas, and I'm raising honeybees here in Idaho. And I have a lot of people ask me, what do I need to do to raise honeybees? My very first answer is, go find people who are raising honeybees where you live. So if you're wanting to know how to store food in Arkansas, go find people who are storing food in Arkansas, in your neighborhood, in your community, in your church. If you don't know anybody, search for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Home Canning Center for your area. Call them up and talk to them and ask them for resources. You may do a search for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the name of your city, and and there'll be phone numbers there that you can call and ask for the Relief Society president. And they'll hook you up, because that's a community of people who are already preparedness minded, who are already storing food. You can go on Facebook, look for groups that are doing food storage in Arkansas or wherever it is that you live. But use the resources that are there. Now, Sue's entire presentation, the last live call, was based off of Wendy DeWitt's video. And so we looked for resources, found resources, acted on that knowledge, and then now we're able to share our experiences. So there's lots of resources out there. Take advantage of them. Again, it's your stewardship, and I'm sure you can find the answers if you want to find them. They're out there. Okay, Christmas list. So Sue mentioned in the call that we have given our children preparedness items for Christmas, especially when they were newly married and so forth. We still do that. We gave all of our kids a pandemic kit back when? 1990?
A few years ago.
Yeah. several years ago, and it was, yeah, thanks, Mom, thanks, Dad, right? But when they needed it, this last year, it was there. It was already pre-packed, it was already pre-built, it was in a box. They had everything they needed right there. And so, when did we do that? When they didn't need it. When do you prepare? When there isn't a need. And so you're ready when the need presents itself. So, Christmas lists, yeah, we still do that. And they appreciate it, and we appreciate it. So, something to consider. When to throw out canned food. Could you want to comment on when to throw out canned food? What are the rules on throwing out canned food?
So canned food you throw out if it is bulging. When we moved from Texas to Idaho, we had some elevation gain from being pretty close to sea level to now we are, between 3,000 and 4,000 foot elevation. And so there was some bulge in the cans. That's not from food spoilage, that's from air pressure. So that can be kind of tricky, but any cans that have been in your storage and have not moved in elevation and they're starting to bulge, you want to throw those out. Those are not good. Other than that, canned food lasts for decades. The expiration date that is put on canned goods is marketing. The food manufacturers want you to throw out, if you haven't used the food in a year and a half, they want you to throw out and buy new stuff. So we have food in our food storage that has passed the expiration. The cans are not bulging. I open and use the canned goods. You know, I use them up and then buy new to replace it. And the food is fine. We've got powdered milk that has been in number 10 cans since 1989. I've opened those cans recently and made some powdered milk, and it tastes like powdered milk. It does not taste like something else. It's still good. So something that I learned in my Master Herbal studies, the question comes up all the time, how do you know when to throw out herbs? And the master herbalist who addressed that question in a remedy making seminar said, if it looks good and it smells good and it tastes good, it's probably still good. So use that, use your own senses to determine if it's good or if it's not. If it's not good, you'll know it immediately.
Yeah, but the rule of thumb is if it's not rusted, if it's not bulged, if it's not dented. But even dented, it could be something because something impacted it that hasn't impacted the can, but hasn't impacted the quality of the food.
Yeah, I ordered some freeze-dried canned goods online, and when they came, they had been damaged in shipping, and so I contacted the seller and said these cans were damaged, and they said, are they just dented or has the metal been pierced? They had just been dented. The manufacturer said it's still good. Yeah, nothing to worry about. You'll find dented cans in the grocery store because somebody reaches for a can, they knock another one off, it hits the floor, it hits another can, it gets a dent. It's still good.
Okay.
There's no need to throw good food out just because the can got a dent in it.
Yeah. So we don't throw food out. If it's in a can, we don't throw it out until we look at it and we determine from our own senses, hey, this is not good food. Sue makes almond milk, which I absolutely love. Just amazing flavor, but it doesn't last forever in the refrigerator.
A couple days.
And I can smell it, and I can taste it, and I can tell you whether it's good or not. So sometimes it gets thrown down the sink because we're going to use those to enhance our bacteria in our septic system. Or if it's good, I'm going to drink it. But just use common sense on that. I know I read several years ago of a test that they did with canned foods they found from World War II. It's 2021 right now, okay? This was done a few years ago. So from World War II, they tested the nutrient value in the canned foods, and it was 80% of the nutrient value of the food in the can. So that's a long time ago. Just use common sense. Okay. I'm stuck in a corner because I live in the Caribbean.
Want to trade places?
Yeah, we went to Tahiti and we literally almost didn't come back because food is literally growing everywhere you walk. We could buy property and honestly just live off the food that just grows there.
Yeah. We would not move our food storage to Tahiti.
Right. Because there's so much food there. And then we would set up a garden and we would grow our own food and we'd eat it fresh.
Yeah. Probably have some emergency food storage in case there's a hurricane that wipes out the island. But there are coconuts everywhere lying on the ground. Coconut water full of electrolytes, really good for you. Coconut meat is really healthy for you. Bananas growing, mangoes galore. I mean, mango trees the size of walnut trees, huge, huge mango trees. Banana trees, oranges grow there, citrus grows there. They grow a lot of vanilla beans there because the climate is just right for that. There's just
there's fishing.
Some of the locals that we talked to, there was a shrimp farm that we visited, and the guy who pointed out the shrimp farm says, "Me and my family, we just go down to the river and we catch our own." They catch their own fish. They're on the ocean. They can catch, from the ocean. They can get food from the rivers. They can get food from the trees, and they grow pineapples. And I mean, literally,
yeah,
it would be wonderful just to live off the land there.
If you want to live in Idaho, where you can put food in your basement, you're welcome to Idaho. But my concern about this comment is more of the mindset. It's more of a victim mindset, and this is what will kill you. So I would say, I'm so blessed I live in the Caribbean and I have food growing literally around me. Now, if you want to do long-term food storage, then say, okay, I live in the Caribbean, what do I need to do long food storage? Who lives in the Caribbean that is doing long-term food storage? Who can I contact? How can I learn this? So your mindset is your most important asset in being prepared and getting prepared. So count your blessings instead of mentally painting yourself into a corner that can cause you to give up. I've had several people tell me if there's an EMP or if there's a world war or a nuclear explosion, they just rather, or the volcano blows up or whatever, they just rather walk outside and get killed in the flash. And I think, well, that's really super selfish. And what a victim mentality that you don't care enough about your children or your grandchildren to prepare, because it's your stewardship, to prepare for a nuclear attack, to prepare for an EMP, to prepare for an ice storm, to prepare for unemployment. So you're just going to give up? This is me trying to be nice.
Okay.
But I'm trying to help you. Your most important asset is your mindset. So please, be positive and find solutions. There are two kinds of people in this world, and there's only two kinds. Those who are victims and those who find solutions. So be one of those who find solutions. You had some other great comments in here, but just be careful of your mind, your self-talk is what I'm trying to say here.
I have another thought here. You live in the Caribbean, your food storage should be Caribbean. You live in Japan, your food storage should be Japanese. Wherever you live, whatever you're used to eating, whatever the cultural norm is that you're eating, that should be your food storage. I would not, if I was living in the Caribbean or in Tahiti, I would not probably have wheat shipped in, or I don't know. Could we live without my bread?
Well, they have sweet bread there, right?
Oh yes, sweet bread.
It's not bread, but
So wherever you live, build your food storage around that culture.
people have lived in the Caribbean for thousands of years without food storage, as we think of it here in the Western United States. So, Western civilization. So, yeah, you can figure it out. Do that. And do that so you can bless yourself and your family. Okay, so I would just say practice like you play is a comment that we hear in sports. Practice like you play. If you're going to practice golf, you're going to practice like you would play golf. If you're going to practice any sport, you want to practice just as hard as you would be playing. So I have a playlist on my YouTube channel. If you go to my playlist section, there's one called Off-Grid Living. And that is me practicing like I play. And Sue came up here to Idaho for a few days, and it ended up being 7 weeks or something like that, to help our daughter renovate her house. And I turned off all the electricity. I turned off the water. I turned off the gas. I turned off all the utilities. And I lived for a week, 7 days, with no utilities. Because I was going to prove to myself how well I was prepared. Boy, was that an eye-opener. So when an ice storm comes now, I've already lived through that. When there's no electricity, we've already lived through that. When there's no water, we've already done that. Take the advantage and go turn off your power. Maybe it's just for the weekend. Turn off your power, turn off your water, turn off your gas. Of course, if you may need someone to help you relight your furnace or relight your pilot lights and those kind of things. But if you don't know what you're doing, but practice like you play. Practice like you would play in a real off-grid situation. People lose power all the time. All the time. It happens all the time. We're just so used to having power and water and everything at our fingertips, just like this in the United States, that we don't know how to live without it. Sue's phone battery stopped working, and it was going to be several days till she got a new phone. And she was like, "Oh, what do I do without my phone?" She lived through it, right? You're still here.
Yeah, it was great.
So
It's good to unplug from technology.
Yeah. Before an emergency happens, practice the emergency, and you'll learn a lot, and you'll be grateful that you did. I also have another playlist called Off-Grid Homesteading, and this one is from a family that is off-grid and raises goats, raises chickens, makes their own cheese, does harvest their animals. So that's another really good playlist. Just go to my YouTube channel and click on playlist and go to Off-Grid Homesteading. I also have another video playlist called How to Prepare for Any Disaster series, and that is literally covers everything from food storage, water storage, heat, cooking, batteries, light, energy. It covers everything, and I would recommend you take a look at that. Another one that I would recommend is also the Rocket Stove series playlist, and that'll show you exactly how to make a rocket stove at zero cost. I literally show you how to make it with no cost, not a penny cost. And we still have the rocket stove that I made in that video, and we used it when we went, we had a Pioneer...
The Prepper Week.
Yeah.
Camp out.
Well, the camp out, but also when we did the Pioneer outing with all the kids that we went to Oklahoma, that's what you cooked your meals on. Yeah. We had, and you literally just walked around, picked up sticks, twigs, put them in the rocket stove, and you cooked your meals. You were done eating before the charcoal was hot for the families who are cooking in cast iron stoves over
Dutch oven cooking.
and Dutch oven cooking, because it's so efficient, so fast, so easy. So that's us practicing like we play. We literally, I built the rocket stove. We took it to the outing, and she cooked her meals on that. It's a great product, and you can also buy them pre-made. And I'll have some links for the rocket stove that we purchased and recommend. Okay, aren't you glad you don't live in Texas anymore? No, I love the people in Texas. We loved our experience. It was so hard moving from Texas because we missed the great fellowships and friendships that we made. We've moved how many times? 18 times? So we lived in Washington, we lived in California, we lived in Texas, we lived in Utah, we lived in Idaho. We loved all those places, and we can live in all those places. And it doesn't make any difference if there's electricity there, if there's water there, if there's fuel there, because we are prepared to live anywhere.
Yeah, each place we lived, the experiences that we had there taught us something. Earthquakes in California taught us a lot. Earthquakes in Washington State taught us a lot. Ice storms in Washington taught us a lot. Hurricanes in Texas taught us a lot. Being with the people, we learned from the people. Like-minded people taught us a lot.
Flooding in Texas.
Flooding in Texas.
Yeah. So, no, we would love to live in we would love to have all the friends that we made live with us wherever we live. And it doesn't make any difference where you live. It makes a difference how you're prepared.
And we love Tahiti so much, we'd love to live in Tahiti too.
We would. If we could get the grandkids to move there, we would be there in a heartbeat. Yeah. Don't ever go to Tahiti. It'll ruin you for life. It was, we stayed on Moorea, the island of Moorea, in one of those over-the-water bungalows. And, we fed the fish through the floor, and it was amazing. We swam with sharks and so forth. It was great. So yeah, lift where you stand, grow where you are, and make it work.
Yeah, everywhere, no matter where you are, there's good people to rub shoulders with, and something to learn, something to teach.
Yeah. So whether you live in the biggest metropolis in the world, or you live out in the county, when you get, you don't see a house from as far as you can see, just make it work. Make it work. Okay, that's your stewardship. We're here to help you in that process, but it's your stewardship. So there's a comment here. Take no thought for tomorrow applies to much, but not for all. We need to take these scriptures in context. So take no thought for tomorrow was Christ giving counsel to his apostles who were doing Christ's bidding. And he said, don't worry about tomorrow. I'm going to take care of you, because they were doing what they were commanded. Now, if you're not doing what you've been commanded, then don't expect to have a promise. That's me being nice again, all right? But let's remember that the woman's container of meal and oil never ran out because...
The widow of Zarephath.
Yeah, because she was doing what the prophet told her to do. Now, it doesn't say in the scriptures what happened to her neighbors that weren't doing what the prophet was telling them to do, and whether they starved to death, but she was blessed because of her obedience. So we all have the right to inspiration. Pray to your Father in heaven. Ask him what direction you should take, and he loves you and will answer you and will direct you in your heart and in your thoughts and in the people that he places in your path to help you. Okay, so let's say, we're down here to number 11. Let's see. Being prepared has made this storm a non-issue for some of us. I feel sorry for those caught off guard. Like I say, if you're prepared, it's an event. If you're not, it's an emergency. The only difference is how well you are prepared for the event. when we were in Texas, and the day after Hurricane Ike came through, and we went and checked on our neighbors on our cul-de-sac, some friends and our neighbors that were our friends lived directly across the street. We said, how'd you do last night? You remember what they said?
They were all huddled together in the bathtub, scared to death because of the noise of the hurricane passing through.
Yeah.
And we slept like babies.
Sue and I literally slept through the hurricane. We woke up to see if the hurricane was still there because we couldn't even hear it.
Yeah, the house was boarded up and it was quiet, very quiet in the house.
Yeah. So it was the same event. One was they literally thought they were going to die, and they were all huddled together. You can imagine the entire family huddled into a bathtub all night long with no sleep, completely uncomfortable. And we slept with no concerns. So if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. There's real meaning in that. So get prepared, okay? Start today. And
kudos to those in Texas who are prepared.
Yes.
And major kudos to those who are helping their neighbors who are not doing as well as they are.
Yeah, after Hurricane Ike, we were prepared. We were running our generator. We had our lights. We had refrigerator. Everything was running in our house. And we went and checked with our neighbors and were able to help out our neighbors. They ate several meals at our house. We ran power to their homes for them. Because we were prepared, we were able to help them. So you can be a blessing to yourself and to others.